I am in Florida, and Wings Over Winter has just ended. I can't say it. That's Tucker Gott's Paramotor, and he offered to let me take it for a ride. So I'm gonna do like a quick tour of what I know about it, what I expect, and then we'll compare that to how it goes. One of the things that makes a Paramotor easy to launch is it's light or it has a lot of power. This is heavier than mine, but it has more power, so I hope that's okay. Also, to get the prop to be upright, the pilot has to lean back further. So that's a technique I'll have to get right as I launch it.
Future Woody here. I wanted to expand on this idea. You have two ways to do this. There are pros and cons to both. So on my machine, when I launch, I can stand nice and upright and the prop pushes forward. However, in flight, the prop is tilted back a little bit, so it's not perfectly efficient. This motor, it's a little more difficult to launch. You have to lean back during launch. But in flight, it's more efficient. It pushes straight forward. So if you're a pilot, who's able to lean back and trust that the wing will carry him and handle all that, then this is a better choice. If you're a newer pilot, and I got my motor when I was a 15-hour pilot, then it might be a better choice to have something where even if you're standing straight up, you're still pushing forward. My Fresh Breeze was like this Scout, and I had a couple bad launches where an 80-pound paramotor becomes a 200-pound paramotor when you're leaning forward and it's thrusting down. So I'm not that guy anymore, but that's the pros and cons.
Otherwise, I expect it to be mostly the same. Mine handles torque by having these bars kind of make you lean one way. His handles it by having these spars that are kind of angled. You can see that, and it'll make the paramotor twist a little more like that. When depending on how hard the prop is pulling air through it, it makes more torque. It has more torque compensation. I want to try that. We got all the King's horses and all the King's men here, setting me up for success. They're moving the throttle to the right, so I have just one less new thing to adjust to. Give me a little heads up on what to know. Lean back like I talked about. This over here. Tucker has really hairy arms.
Keeps him warm.
A Yankee who's evolved.
You look 100 times sexier in that motor.
How can that be? I've already capped out sexy.
I use the
flash starter?
Yeah.
I think so.
It's a half flash starter.
Where prop? I'm on camera. I'm trying to suck in my gut while Tucker films me. Alright, we're about to do this. Everyone's watching. Okay. The harness is a little wider than mine, which means I think it requires weight shifting a little differently. I'll test that in a minute. I thought it was going to be a lot quieter than mine because I think so highly of Tucker's audio, but it's smoother. It does vibrate less, and I feel like... So here's the thing. On the list of things I care about as a pilot, vibration is like 29th. It's really not a thing to me. But I feel like it does impact my voice a little bit. Sometimes maybe like I'm talking through a fan, and this is a little smoother, so maybe that's one of the positive attributes about Tucker's outstanding audio. The torque compensation seems to work. I'm crabbing right, but I think that's more wind than turning. And I'm gonna sit still for a second. I still think that. I think I'm going straight airspeed wise, but I'm crabbing to the right, but because of the wind. But I'm not 100% sure. In either case, it definitely is doing a thing. It's not a motor with no torque compensation, even though the arms don't have the torque compensation. It's in the spars. I've heard people talk about the momentary torque of it, and I do feel that although I attribute it to like maybe a slightly heavier prop and a lot of power. You know, so like the momentary torque might be a little more than like an E-prop Nitro for both of those reasons. I like the Paramotor. It's extremely well built. Everybody knows that. I'm gonna get some altitude and get jiggy with it a little bit, see how it does. At full throttle, I'm definitely torquing to the right. And I swear I'm too hung up on torque compensation. It's just one of Scout's magic tricks, and I'm really interested in it. It's not so much that I can't just lean left and go straight, but you can kind of see maybe, if you look carefully, that I'm headed right a touch. Well, I'm going to throttle down. He has the air conception throttle just like I do, but I cut the end of mine off so that I can reach up here and never really interfere with the throttle. I don't know. I'm going to try some asymmetric spirals to the right and see how she goes. Shift, turn. Now I'm going to get jiggy to the left a little bit, see how she dances. Bounced around just a little bit, and I'm pretty conservative about low altitude stuff, but I'm really conservative about low altitude stuff, whoa, on someone else's motor. So I'm just gonna stay, 10 feet off the ground, get a vibe for how I control her. It's nice. It's a really nice motor. It's comfortable. Mine's comfortable too, but I feel like I see what people are talking about. You can sit in this all day and be happy. At cruise, she goes really straight for me. At full throttle, she torques to the right. And you can definitely compensate, even at full throttle, just by, weight shifting left to give you a vibe for, how not a big deal it is. But, I'm really interested in the way the torque compensation works. Every big Icarus, the 1,000-mile one, has been won by somebody with torque compensation, either the Nirvana Instinct or the Scout. So they must be doing something right about going in straight lines. Yeah, I like the Paramotor. It's nice. It's nice. All right, let's do some wing overs. So, my thing about wing overs is I can start weak because they seem to have no trouble building. My timing's a little funny because I've been flying different wings all weekend. So I think I gotta put her in for a landing. Hope I don't mess it up. I'm looking for the windsock. Guy kiting's kind of an indicator. The kite laid out on the ground is a bit of an indicator. I'm just gonna put her right in the middle of everything, nothing. I'm still deciding. Ah, my camera! Almost what I meant to do. I like it.
Future Woody here. I wanted to take a second to tell you what I thought of this Scout. Now that I'm at home, I've had an opportunity to reflect on it, and, you know, I've got the comfort of retakes and such, that as opposed to live flight. The Scout, to me, is equivalent to, like, something really quality. Like, if you've ever held a really high-end camera in your hands, or a pair of binoculars, or rifle scope, like, some things, when I touch them, I say, wow, like, this is obviously cool. You know, gauges that are filled with a liquid. Some things you touch them and you're like, this is well put together. The Scout is like that. Everything about it. When you buckle in, the clips have a green sight window, so you know if you put the clips in properly. If you've ever put a clip in like 3/4 and it wasn't right, then you know that sight window would be cool. The harness feels really high end. Every carabiner, everything about it, the way the spars click, the netting, like, everything on this motor feels like a Mercedes of paramotors. That to me was its most defining characteristic, which is a little different than my expectations of it. There were two things, good and bad, that I expected to find from it. On the bad side, I expected it to be heavy, and it didn't feel heavy. My first paramotor was heavy, and even just standing upright with it there was exhausting. You know, as a new pilot, people would want to give me lessons or tell me something to think about, and it's like, dude, you had to do that when I wasn't wearing this. I'm exercising right now, just standing with this on my back. The Scout wasn't like that. It wasn't. The Scout's different. It fits on your back well. The weight, I don't know if it's where it goes. Maybe the weight's high or it's close to your back or something about it is not a problem. It's not, I promise. That was something I expected to be an issue, and it wasn't. On the other side, the torque compensation. So my hope for it was that it would be total magic. That is, the motor torque to the right, the spars would torque to the left, and it would be beyond perfect. The reality was, for me, on my back, it was perfect at idle, it was perfect at cruise, and it went slightly to the right at full power. That was my experience with it. And I spent a lot of time, more than you can see in this video, testing it, you know, at different throttles, at different settings, and going straight for a long time and just seeing what's up. And that was my impression. It's perfect at idle, which is where I do my acro. It was perfect at cruise, but at full power, it went slightly to the right. That's what I got. Great paramotor. Total quality. They somehow find a way to make it seem not heavy. And it launches great, and it flies great, and I can see why people would pick it. I can see why it's the first choice of a lot of people who paramotor a lot. That's my takeaway from it. It's a really well-built, well-done paramotor, and I liked it. It's a good one.
Yeah, multi-million-dollar deals got $1 million deal. When I was younger, I would wonder how $1 million feel. And for real, it feel like I ain't even broke a seal. Cause when you drop hits, they want you to pick up the bill. Now my life is in Maryland, my heart is in Chicago. New York state of mind, but out LA, man, that's where I go. When I need to lay this shit down, so much on my mind, that's the reason I'm spitting now.